All right. So, um, what we want to do today is kind of see how things are going and confirm our direction, make sure that we're doing what we need to be doing and going the right way. So first, let me ask you, do you have any pressing concerns outside of our goal? Because remember, our goal was to increase engagement, and we made a big 100% engagement goal, but moving towards that, just getting towards that goal. So, and this would be in your activities in engineering courses. So, are there anything? Is there any other pressing concerns about our direction?
No, I don't. I think that when I put this in place, after you and I talked earlier on, kids bought right into it. The students bought right into it immediately. And the first initial tries at it for the first day or so, there was a lot of extraneous discussion going on about things that had nothing to do with the class. But that's fine because they needed to get that out of their system.
All right, so let's look at the implementation. You decided to go into Microsoft Teams and use Microsoft Teams for your to implement this engagement. Why don't you show me some of the classwork on that?
Discussion here is a project that was which is a project in Project Lead the Way. Too many projects there. But anyway, in Project Lead the Way, there is one that's a design build project to do a garbage separator. And under non-COVID type situations, you end up getting the students to use VEX products and build a machine that does that. And it sorts marbles. It sorts metal marble, acrylic marble, and a wood marble. Told them to do a design build, but we weren't going to build on this one. We were just going to work out the design and have do drawings and things like that that would show the project. There are four people off to the side here that are in the project. I made the team include one person from outside the classroom, one person who was in a virtual environment. And that brought that person into the normal flow of things and made them feel like they were a part of the group.
The assignment was to create the PowerPoint? Okay.
The assignment was to design a trash sorter and create a PowerPoint and present it to the class versus building a VEX product, the robot materials that I have.
So this team is, because you can see right there on the right that all four of them recently contributed. So it's pretty easy to check for engagement.
Yeah.
What percentage of your students in general, like out of all the kids that did this, were there kids that didn't participate or didn't get in the team and do what they were supposed to do?
So really, I would say the participation is between 90 and 100%.
Wow, that's pretty good, actually.
And so also, that depends. Participation depends upon their interest in what you gave them to do.
Yeah. So some are going to do more than others. That'll be the case in all.
But that's always true.
Yeah, that is.
That's always true.
Yeah, that's one of the benefits of this is they can share things with each other rather than if they just start talking in a circle, they actually, they're not going to have this opportunity to look stuff up the way they are. And this is kind of nice. Teams allows them to bring the internet into the conversation a little easier.
I think that when you and I talked originally, it had nothing to do with what we're talking, about now or this process we're involved in now. I just wanted them to be able to talk to each other and be able to deal with the people at home on their own rather than me trying to have to get up there and get them to, okay, you make a comment, now you make a comment. The whole class is bored by that time.
If I click meet up in the corner and I get them all into the meeting and then I leave, they can still keep meeting.
I had no idea that worked that way.
So
So,
yeah, I didn't either. So because
which,
one day I was in the classroom and I did a meeting with these 3 boys that were in the room and 2 boys at home, and we were all meeting together. And then when I left the meeting, I heard them, the boys in class, joking, and I'm like, "What are you guys doing?" They're like, "Oh, we're still in the meeting." And I said, "Wow, well, that's so all you have to do if you wanted to do that. What you would have to do is start the meeting, get them
right.
all in there, and then leave."
Well, that's, this is why I agreed to do this, although you and I, have had great discussions in the past, because I learned something out of this, because you're more of a computer guy and I'm more of a construction guy and all that.
All right, so let's talk about now that you've gotten this thing going, what percentage of the courses that you teach would you be able to actually use this in?
I put every single class that I have 4 types of classes with 5 actual classes,
Mm-hmm.
and I put all of them in this in
All
a
right.
different situation.
So so this
And
this
as
is
you can
making a
see,
change. This is like kind of a sweeping change, really. Something that.
yeah, let me go over here for just a second. Here's to show you this group. I put different pictures on them.
Mm-hmm.
This group is an IED group.
Mm-hmm.
This is an IED group. This is the EDD group, the capstone course.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the aerospace course, this which is different a little bit. This is all the people in class, and this is all the people out of the class. So
Wow.
I did that as a different experiment. And then this right here, this red one is the POE class, the second class.
Wow.
So I've put them all in there, which I consider to be a pretty cool thing. This goes with my normal stuff that I have, but I mean, they're all in it. To pat you and me both on the back,
Mm-hmm.
our collaboration on this has been really significant for what I was doing. I knew what I wanted to do, but you enabled me to get to do that. I think it's very effective.
Let's talk about
But
improvements.
they're
Like,
ninth
what are
graders.
some things that we could do? Because I did the same thing. I had to do the same thing with my AP Computer Science A kids on a project they were working on, and I noticed some things I could do to make it better after I did it after the fact. Obviously, after it was too late. But what are some things you might think of doing? Like what's working, what's not working, and what could we do to make the things that aren't working work better?
Yeah, be effective for me to come into the meeting, join into this, like say this group right here is having a discussion about the project. I could enter the meeting myself and give them an idea. Instead of walking around the room, I could actually stand there and go into the room. And I think that's would be very effective. I'm still, I'm still coming up with ideas of how to use it. As far as I would not put this up in front of the class
Mm-hmm.
because I think this is it needs to remain more private. I don't want people making fun of something somebody said or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think you can see that they've divided up things like this right here. So they've done a reflection, which I asked them to do. And so they've already and so here Dylan was the one who was working on the reflection. So they divided themselves up in their own, in their own way. And so Dylan was doing the reflection while the rest of them were talking about drawings and stuff. So as far as things to do better, I don't look at it on this as better. I think it's already well established. I think that I could tweak it a little bit. I think that me coming into the class every once in a while is a good thing because it keeps their discussion where it should be. And it reminds them that I can see what they're doing.
Yeah, that's a good
If you
idea.
left them,
Actually.
if I could get it, yeah.
I
If I
actually go
couldn't
into
get
my
into the
kids.
room,
I go into my
What?
teams on occasion and just put a comment in there
Yeah.
just to let them know. And I'd
Yes.
sometimes even do it in the evenings when I'm at home. I just grab my laptop and open it up and just go into all their teams and just put a comment, just to like, just maybe even just say good idea to somebody, or I like that. Just something really simple. And then they all know you're there.
Yep.
Because if you don't
And I
do it
think
once in a
that's what
while,
I'm,
yeah.
yeah, you need to come in there every once in a while. I'm not saying every day, but I
Yeah.
think, and not every team every day. But I
Yeah.
think that that's one thing that I've thought about that I need to go in and do.
I'm at that point where I can go ahead and institute that now because it's been so successful. Um, this is one of the better one of the better teams, but they're all doing really well with this.
So I got something to throw at you. I got a couple ideas that I want to just bounce them off you and see what you think. One improvement I thought of after the fact, because I did a project where my kids were working in a team, and they were building a blackjack game. So the project actually had a rubric where the code had to have certain things in it, and it had to do certain things and work a certain way. So the project had a rubric. However, I did not incorporate the teams or the collaboration component in the rubric. And after the fact, I thought, well, you know what I should have done was I should have on the rubric at some point said, you have to do this in teams. And that would make an individual component to this larger project. So if a kid, so say the whole group turned in a great project, well, that's only a component of their grade. The other component is the collaboration component, which I could have graded out of Microsoft Teams or out of the discussion board if I use that instead, or however I wanted to do it. But I thought after the fact that would have made it would have made the kids, it would have forced engagement first. And the other thing that it would have been good to do is it would have actually made it easier for them to communicate, because they would have been forced to go on there, forced to use it. And then once the conversation started, then there's that, it kind of always snowballs a bit, which is what we want.
I think I'm at the point where I can go there, where we set up a class discussion board for this project. And now everybody has to contribute 3 things. And I think that dovetails directly into what you're talking about. And I think that it will work pretty well.
So
So
I had something I
to
could
do
give you for
that-
that. So that this is if this is
Yeah,
one of
go
our
ahead.
planning our next actions, I guess. So planning the next thing,
Right.
if you're going to do a discussion board like that, one thing I did, and I did this and it worked, actually it worked really, really well. So you're saying 3 things. So if you did that, your 3 things could be, you have to ask a question, answer a question, and provide one piece of information. So instead of just any 3 random posts, that way the kids are all have to think of something they want to ask, answer something that somebody else asked, and then provide some sort of useful information. And that way,
I think that's exactly the answer.
yeah.
Yep, I agree with that.
And this would be kind of a rubric for your discussion board, but a very, very simple one, obviously. Ask,
Oh, yeah.
answer, and provide information. And that would be a way to, going forward, maybe wrap up this project, because this way the discussion board could kind of be a big brainstorm of all of the people's groups, and that would be kind of a way to kind of bring it all together. So this is the one I did. I did this one, and it's called a Jamboard. And this was this was for people to think of ideas, and this is the topic right here: AP Computer Science Principles create topics. And the kids all just got in here, and I opened it up and I let them just put whatever they want on here, and it's just different ideas that they had. for things that you could do for this project. And this is kind of a nice way to, so like, uh, if you wanted to take your ideas rather than doing a discussion board, this is what I did. I did this live as a assignment. I did it live in class where they were all in the Zoom, and then I put the link to the Jamboard in the chat, and then I let them throw stuff in there. And like this would be something where if you're talking about your garbage sorter, they could have ideas, just
Yep.
random ideas for their garbage sorter. And then when I left this posted online for them. So if they wanted to go back and think, this would kind of create an impetus for thought for that particular assignment or any other one. So I thought this was kind of a cool way to do it. And I thought I'd share that with you.
I think
Because, you know, planning next actions, there's lots of ideas. And if you ever wanted to do this, I could show you how to set it up. And it'd be just another way to create some interaction with your group. And but I think what you're doing is more than we kind of initially planned, isn't it?
it is. And like I say, once I got into it, I figured out that the Zoom was not a good idea to start with. It would have gone another direction. And so putting it into a Zoom as opposed to putting their ability to use Zoom as opposed to not at the start was a good idea.
Yeah.
Even though it was forced upon me. And one good thing that has come of our collaboration, I realize what we're doing for you, but we're also doing something for me in collaborating, which we'd have done anyway, even if it wasn't within the framework of the course you're in. Because, you know, as far as it goes, you are much more computer savvy and all, what you would expect, than I am. And I'm pretty decent at it, but I'm nowhere near what you're doing. So I'm getting ideas out of what you're doing that will help me a lot. And I realize you're getting what you need from me, but I think that it's a great collaboration from us, from aside from the process we're in.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we can keep doing it as we go forward. And all right. So
I agree.
yeah. So let's wrap this one up. And the next actions, as you get moving forward and you start continuing, obviously, you know where I am. You can come by and we can, if you wanted to try it. Yeah, if you wanted to try that Jamboard instead of the discussion board, because it's kind of I thought my kids really enjoyed it. You do have to have some sense of maturity, but your students seem pretty mature to do something like that.
Oh yeah, I think they're good.
Yeah, I think they are too. So
I don't have problems with my kids as far as inappropriate things or stuff like that. They started off with a bent toward that maybe, but they're not doing that now.
That's awesome. All right, so we will keep working together and see what comes of it. But this is going great so far. I'm really pleased.